there, my name is Crystal. We live in Connecticut. It is June 18th, 2024, and we are going to be taking a tour of our garden. So I have solely been getting everything out into the garden, and my theme this year has pretty much been let's plant as much as we can in the space that we have. I have really been trying to utilize as much of the garden space as I can. So I still have some seedlings left that I'm going to just either start planting around different areas in our yard like I've done in the past, or squeeze them in our garden somewhere. I have a bunch of fabric pots left that I would like to use up, but I need to get more garden soil and peat moss, and all those things cost money. But overall, everything's looking pretty good. The fruit trees have been a huge disappointment this year. The cherry trees were loaded with flowers, but for some reason we only got a handful of cherries. Our nut trees had nuts on them, and then the birds took them. Our apple trees, they are not producing. I had Steve go out there today and remove some of the branches that had like these tent caterpillars on them. The fruit trees are gonna take some time. So with that, let's start the tour. Steve just let the chickens in a little bit ago. They're doing very well. Little miss over here who's been very sick, but she is doing so much better, and her comb is looking nice, and her tail is pretty much up most of the time. I'm pretty happy with that, but we'll do a separate video on what was going on with her and what I did to help her. And here is the kiwi vines. Now, they were growing over here, but I cut those today, and they were also growing over the top into the garden area, and I didn't want that, so I did cut those back a little bit. Ooh, here's some kiwi berries. There are so many. I really don't want to have to cover these up so that birds don't get to them, but there are way more than we've had in previous years. These are a self-fertile variety of kiwi. I will link the kiwi playlist down in the description if you are interested. It's been a journey with these plants. Here's our peach trees that are looking kind of sad because they need to be transplanted. They have a couple peaches on them. This one is a Bredhaven peach, and this one is an Alberta peach. On the outside of the garden, we have dwarf Siberian kale from Baker Creek. So I think we'll start over here with the green stalk. Lots of herbs and lettuce. We have beans on the bottom and some dwarf tomatoes down here. Over here we have Roma tomatoes, a few different varieties. Straight neck squash in there, onions that need to be separated. And we're also letting some of the carrots from last year go to seed. Some turnips right there. But then behind it we have tomatoes. Those are mostly slicing tomatoes. A couple of them we have here. This one's a pineapple tomato. I've never grown that one before. I'm very excited. We've got an Abe Lincoln, a Crimson Giant, originally from my gardener, and then I saved the seeds. Started growing our own. Got a Bonnie Best here. This is one of my favorites. Dr. Weish's yellow tomato, a Cherokee purple, and in this bed I've got peas. Just harvested the oregano again for the second time. This plant needs to be moved. I was just gonna try and get a shovel, scoop it underneath, and move the entire plant ball, like the entire root ball somehow. I just can't figure out where I'm going to put it yet. Most likely in a container. The green beauty peas that I always talk about. Just one of my favorites. In the bed behind me we've got carrots and lettuce. And then there's some more lettuce that looks kind of odd, but that's because I've been moving it from the fabric pot that I'll show you in a little bit. I've been separating out the plants and getting them in here. Which is how these ones got in here, and that's what they look like now. 3 different kinds of cherry tomatoes in here with the inverted tomato cages, and then I have them zip tied together across the top. Behind here we have some bush and green beans, avalanche snow peas here. And then in the mix, I've got a Rosella cherry tomato that's growing up. Because when the peas stop producing, I'm going to cut them right at the ground level, leave the roots in the ground to break down, and then the Rosella cherry tomato plant will have this trellis to grow up. Alaska shelling peas, and another cherry tomato in here, and same thing over here. Dwarf gray sugar pea pods from Seeds of Change, and then I have a sunrise bumblebee cherry tomato plant in there. I've got some fennel and leeks in there that need to be separated. Behind me we have the sweet potatoes, and I decided to stick a homegrown beefsteak tomato plant in there to see what happens. A subarctic plenty tomato with a flower and a tortoise beetle. Don't like those. Butternut squash, honey nut squash, and bushing acorn squash that needs to get transplanted. These are some bush beans in the front. I think those are provider beans from Burpee. The squash will trellis over the top of this. Hopefully it will make it because this is completely rotted. This is the sweet pepper bed, a few different varieties in the front, and then the seedlings all behind it. I have really struggled this year to get my sweet peppers grown. I don't know why. I started them at the same time as my hot peppers, and it's usually my hot peppers that struggle. That's the hot pepper bed. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different varieties of hot peppers in there, and they're all doing well. It's the sweet peppers that are struggling. It's just the way things go sometimes. And then those containers there, we have potatoes. Oh, our blueberries, they're starting to show. Comstock sauce and sliced tomatoes that I've never grown before. But I have 6 of those plants in here. 6 Amish paste going up this row. And then I've got another pineapple tomato. And another Cherokee purple, and I already see some very large blossoms starting to form on that. Lots of shallots, black diamond watermelon from my gardener. One year I was able to get so many Lady Godiva squashes, and I have not had a good year since of them. I might go get some seeds from inside, my own seeds that we've grown in the past, and try and get those in the ground and see if I can get those to sprout. August ambrosia watermelon down there. So I grow different things in the middle. Anything that's really vining, like the watermelon or pumpkin, I put on the outside and then work the vine on the outside of the beds. Here's our garlic, looking awful. I harvested the scapes and fertilized, and they just look terrible. Next time I come out and do a harvest of stuff, I'll probably harvest some more garlic that has fallen over. Royal Burgundy bush beans in this galvanized container, and some Cherokee yellow wax bush beans. We've got corn. This is double standard sweet corn from Fruition Seeds. And then on the outside I have Jacob's cattle beans. They're a bush drying bean that I really like, so I got a bunch of those in on the outside. Coco Zell zucchini in a container. Some summer squash on the outside. Get some more tomato plants in here, I think, because there can never be enough tomato plants. And we have peas. Here's fabric pots that I've had here for a long time. We have Geranium Kiss tomato plant, which is a determinate tomato plant, so it will do very well in this container. I've got a dwarf tomato, Arctic Rose dwarf tomato, eggplant, Mountain Princess tomato, a Purple Rain tomato that is also a determinate, and it grows like really good slicing tomatoes. And then this is another Arctic Rose. I got these in very early this year, so that's why they're that size versus the other one. Here's the cucumber bed. I ended up putting landscape fabric down because the weeds in here were so bad. The crabgrass in here got so bad that I couldn't even keep up with ripping it out. So I just ended up covering it with weed fabric. But we have a bushing cucumber plant in there, and we're already starting to get some. I've got a green 18 And we've got a Chicago pickling growing. This one's the National Pickling Cucumber from Dollar Tree. Silver Slicers. These are white cucumbers. Already starting. Then I have another watermelon on the end that I will vine around somehow. Go over to Container Cove here. Got potatoes, carrots. That's the lettuce that I've been taking plants from and putting them in that garden bed that you already saw. More potatoes, tomato plants in fabric pots, soybeans, tomatoes, eggplant, carrots, some bush beans, another bush cucumber. These are garbanzo beans. I've got black beans and purple hull pea beans. And then we've got some early purple kohlrabi. Our strawberry bed is looking tired. I'm thinking I'm going to go in there and clean it up a bit, get some of the weeds out of there, maybe get some fertilizer, but they're looking pretty yucky. I see this one. I'm gonna take it. It's mine now. Oh, I see another one. I've got some baby corn, a ground cherry plant. These are Virginia peanuts that I saved from the ones that we grew last year. Not all of them sprouted, but some of them did. Some hot peppers and some sort of brassica there. I don't know what that is. And then more bush beans. We got a Connecticut field pumpkin, a Moon and Stars watermelon, a little leaf pickling cucumber, bee balm. That is one of the things I have not seen a lot of this year, and that is bees. Usually we have tons of bees. I was really excited because at the beginning of mid to late spring, I was really starting to see honeybees in our garden, and we've always seen them outside of our garden, but then they just kind of went away. I haven't seen any bees. I have seen some here and there, but usually the garden is completely full of them. I'm wondering if I'm the only one experiencing that or if other people are too. We've got blackberries over here and then raspberries. I was actually able to pick a raspberry today and eat it. It was so good. Purple potted pole beans are on the trellis. Those are the Blue Lake pole beans. My kids got me these seeds for Mother's Day. These are the orange tender sweet watermelon. I've got a small sugar pumpkin in here too. Different varieties of zinnias started on the outside, and then a whole bunch of sunflowers. I had to restart sunflowers because none of them sprouted, and I opened up my last bag of garden soil and put it on top of the peat moss that I had put in here, and then I started more seeds. And then I've been running the sprinkler. But I've got another summer squash in here. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 summer squash. So yellow squash and zucchini. This is what our greenhouse is looking like right now. I've got an empty tray down there that I'm probably gonna start broccoli and cabbage and stuff like that. And I started some more basil because I didn't have enough planted around the garden. These are the State Fair winter pumpkins. Those are from the 65 pounder that I grew in 2021. Those seeds were from that. And then in the back corner is the Long Island cheese pumpkin. So I've got to get those transplanted. And we have flowers around. I just don't understand why we're not getting any bees. And I'm not even seeing them around the yard either. I really am curious to know if other people are experiencing that or if it's just me. Early on, I remember seeing butterflies and bees, you know, right around the normal time that we do. And then all of a sudden it just kind of stopped. And I haven't really seen much. I'm just used to when I'm out here hearing constant buzzing of bees in the garden or around the house, and there haven't been any. I've seen wasps, so I don't know what's going on. The battery on my camera is about to die. So, I think that'll do it for this video. Thank you so much for joining me when we walked through the garden today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!